A very good afternoon to all virtually connected with us. Technology is like a soaring exercise of the human imagination. Very well said by Daniel Bell. I, Ankita Kumari, a student of BCA second semester, would like to welcome everyone for the Campus Ready program, Day 2. Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. Before we commence ahead, I would like to take an opportunity to thank our respected Chairman, Sir Dr. R.K. Tandon, respected Director, Ma'am, Professor Dr. Barkha Behel, and our dynamic HOD, Ma'am, Dr. Mukta Sharma. Thank you, Sir and Ma'am, for always being a great source of motivation to all of us. I, on behalf of entire CS and IT department, would like to welcome our esteemed speaker of the day, Mr. Gaurang Satam, with a bunch of lavender. Wish we could hand over to you in the physical mode, but nevertheless, moving ahead, once a new technology rolls over you, if you aren't the stream roller, you are the part of the road. Very well said by Stewart Brand. Thank you so much, sir, for your time and patience. I would request you to kindly enlighten us with your inspirational words. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Ankita. Thank you so much. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Wonderful. Thank you for that lovely introduction. Just a minute. Can somebody stop sharing this screen so that I can share mine? Thank you. All right. So, I mean, it was wonderful connecting with students yesterday, and I had such interesting insights. I learned few important vocabulary words, which I'm very sure I'm going to utilize it in my forthcoming sessions. Let me know if the screen is visible. I'll quickly start my video. Is the screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, wonderful. So yesterday we started off with a few bunch of things, and today we will be processing with other few things. But I think we have same set of students we had yesterday, right? Yeah, we do. Okay, I can see a few common names. I know that we're all in there. Okay, so I just want to start off with a little icebreaker activity, and then we'll take it up from there. Yesterday we started off with understanding resume. We did a little bit exercise on what resume is and why is it important. Why is it important to prepare a must-have, a could-have, and a can-have. Post that, we watched a lovely video on pursuit of happiness. I'm sure you guys remember that video. Plenty of learnings that we picked up from that video. So what we'll do is we'll do a little exercise on story telling now. I hope you all can see my screen. My screen says there's Asha and Sam. They were walking outside the office premises near the bus stop, and they spotted some money. On closer examination, they saw it was a 2,000 rupee note. Then what happened? So I'd like students to draw a conclusion out of this story. Let's see how creative and how motivational or how I mean, I don't want anybody to be a James Bond here, definitely, and not even the Hindi version of James Bond, that's Ekta Kapoor. So try to keep it a little creative. Let's see how our creative minds are flowing. So this is the context and the conflict. I want you to bring a conclusion to this story. You can probably pick up any genre and bring a conclusion. It could be comedy, tragedy, thriller, whatever suits you the best. Okay, I see Ujjwala sending me a message. So meanwhile, Ankita, can we enable the reply all option in the chat box so that everyone can have the access to sending a message?
Yes, sir, we can do that.
Yeah, thank you. Because I see people sending a message to me and I'll have to read that out. It's better if we have one common ground. Okay,
Sure.
Abhinav. Yeah, Abhinav want to make it comedy. Abhinav, come on, bring an end to this story. So I would love to hear some human voice. Okay, I want to hear some human voice before we even type in somewhere. So you can use the raise hand option to notify that you want to speak. I'll be more than happy to accommodate. So I remember the last time when I did this exercise, one of my students, he very clearly said that, Asha and Sam were walking and they spotted a 2,000 rupee note. They happened to pick it up and the note was going far away from them because there was a string attached to that note. and they were being filmed. Apparently, it was a it was just like what you see on YouTube, right? It was a prank. So that was an end to the story that one of my student bought. I'd like you to also think on those grounds, something creative. And moreover, I'd like to hear some human voice. So it'll be great if you could unmute and speak. Nobody at all? What happened today? Yes, Kanishka, go ahead. Yes, Kanishka, can't hear you.
Sir, actually, the chats are open for everyone and they need to post their information there only.
Oh, they can't unmute themselves, is it?
So, yes.
Then how will I interact with my students? Pragya has also raised her hand. Is it possible to unmute a few students, because when they interact, it becomes
I'll
more
be sir.
lively? Okay. Kanishka says the note is fake. Possible?
So they picked it up, went to a restaurant and ate something.
Happy ending to the story, right? And sometimes even wish we could have got that note. But okay, fair enough. A happy ending, fairy tale ending. Yes, Abhinav.
सर सर एक मूवी थी सर, फिर हेरा फेरी।
हम्म.
सर
Yeah.
एंडिंग वैसे भी हो सकती है सर कुछ।
कैसे हो सकती है एंडिंग, बताओ?
सर जैसे 2000 नोट से फिर लाखों पे, फिर करोड़ों में, फिर लाइक दैट सर।
So, Abhinav, if at all you find a 2000 rupee note, the first person you'll approach is Bipasha Basu, is it? That's exact. I think Bipasha Basu was the one who was there, right? She kind of converted those notes into.
यस सर।
Okay, fair enough. All right. Okay, Antara has also put in a nice end. She says they walked towards the note and saw a treasurer of say 500. What was that? Sorry, I missed that out. 500 meters away, become billionaire and enjoyed life. Okay. They picked the note and then they got to a showroom for some purchase. They find the note is duplicate and their friend followed them. Prank is done by their friends. Okay, interesting. That's a nice response. Come on, I want somebody to also look at other angles. Some tragedy, some thriller. One thing that I'm very happy about is my students don't watch Savdhan India. So good that no responses on those lines. No Savdhan India responses. Okay. Any other response? I'll just give one more minute for this exercise too. And I always start my sessions with a little icebreaker so that we can get some fresh air before and some creative juices flowing before we start our session. All right, that's an interesting one, Ryan. Okay, Andra has given a fairy tale Disneyland story. She says 2000 rupee note was actually a lottery ticket of traveling free for life. You know, the best part about this exercise is the fact that only you can bring an end to your story, right? Nobody else can. If you decide this is not how I want my story to end, it's completely onto you, right? And the best learning that I had out of this story is the fact that nobody else can own my story. Only I have the right to end it. And if I want it, I'll end it the way I want it to, right? The choice lies within me. Okay, Rachna says they picked up the note but didn't notice a special symbol. Okay, that symbol was not normal. It was a part of the plan in execution. Okay, that note had some secret encrypted signal. Okay, okay. Oh, okay. All right, interesting. That's a lot to digest. Yes, somebody says somebody wants to say something. Go ahead, you can unmute yourself and speak. If at all you have, you can see the unmute option. Mm. Okay. All right. Yes, Harshit, you want to say something? Go ahead, unmute yourself.
सर मैं ये कह रहा था कि वही मुझे वही बोलना था लॉटरी वाला जो एक बच्चे ने बोला था, तो वो चीज बोल रहा हूँ मैम सर चैट पे मैं.
Okay, fair enough. But the whole crux of the story, great that we all are wonderful storytellers. But the one definite learning that we picked up from this exercise is only you have the right to bring an end to your story. No one else can. So great observations, and I can see few people responding to this, which is wonderful to know. Okay, they saw an old lady searching for a wallet. They think this note must be hers, so they gave the note to that lady. Fair enough. All right, wonderful. So let's start with the session now. I can see responses coming up yet, but I think it's time for us to start the session because we cannot stick around to this exercise. But thank you everyone. I think wonderful responses I have received from you all. Just 1 minute, please. Let me quickly share my screen. Okay, now basically, usually what happens is, I'm sure all of us must be knowing or must have tried and tested tools on time management, right? I'm sure all of us must have. Right? Okay, I see somebody raising, Pranav raising his hand. Yes, Pranav, you want to say something? Okay, he's pulled down his hand. All right, fair enough. So let me ask you the first question. What is time management according to you? What is time and what is time management? Yes. No, one of my students told me that time is democratic. Yeah. We all have 24 hours. How much ever poor you are, or I mean, how much ever rich you are, or how much ever poor you seem to be, one thing that's common for all of us is time. So, okay. Nidhi says time management is basically how we spend our day. Okay. Balancing our work without missing any single thing. Okay. That's Rachna. Okay. Fair enough. Exciting. So my biggest question to you is, are we able to manage our time effectively? Right? We all have 24 hours in a day. Are we able to manage those 24 hours effectively? Is the question. Shirodi says, managing your daily activities into getting a productive outcome of the day. That's a nice response. Making a schedule to do whole day activities. Okay. Time is like money. We have to manage. Time we cannot stop. Okay. Time management is like we are learning something every moment. Okay. That's an interesting perspective. For me, time management is something which can never be managed. Some or the other thing is left only. Okay, fair enough. All right. So what we're going to do is we'll do a little exercise on. I hope y'all can see my screen. It says pizza of life. We know how a pizza looks like, right? What are we going to do is we will be like, just think of this particular pizza as the time that you spend in a day, 24 hours, right? So this pizza, the total of this pizza is 100%. I want you to divide this pizza into different slices based on the activities that you do in a day and allocate a percentage to those activities. Like, say, for example, 30% you allocate for sleeping, 20% you allocate for workout, rather another 30% you allocate for studies, and 20% you allocate for your family. So that makes it 100%. So I want you to name that pizza as pizza 1 and post your responses in the chat box. Now, this is just a generic few bunch of activities that I listed down. I want you to make a list of all the activities that you do in a day, and I want you to allocate a percentage to those activities. And the total has to be 100%, remember. And name that pizza as pizza 1. Let me know if you have not understood this activity. Any thoughts? Any questions? Okay. No, didn't get. Shreya, did you understand or you didn't understand?
Sir, can you repeat?
Yeah. So there are, okay, didn't understand. Fine. Fair enough. So you know how a pizza looks like, right? And a pizza is divided into different slices, correct? So what I want you to do is I want you to allocate your time, right? So for example, 24 hours, say it's 100%, right? I want you to divide that 100% into small slices based on the activities that you do in a day. right? Say for example, 20% sleeping, 20% workout, 10% jogging, or 50% work, right? So total has to be 100%, and make a list of all the activities that you do and allocate a percentage to those activities. Remember, the total has to be 100% because we all have 24 hours in a day. I hope it's clear now. Or do you want me to repeat? I hope it's clear. Okay, I see first pizza coming in the chat box. You all can actually follow because I am actually going to post this to everyone so that all of you all can actually have a look at it. How somebody, I just saw one pizza in the chat box. Yeah, 1 minute. Yeah, I'm just posting Antra's pizza in the chat box. This is Antra's. Can't copy it. Okay, somehow I'm not able to copy this. Anyway. Okay, Antra says 20% workout, 20% sleep, 20% phone, 20% studies and work, 20% Ludo with family. I think that's interesting. So that makes it 100%. Wonderful. Nishan says 30% spending time with family, 20 workout, 40 spending time on social media, 10% sleep. Fair enough. Okay, I can see a few more responses. 30% learning something new. Wonderful. That's Rohan. 30% workout, implementing what I have learned. 20% friends and family. 20. Okay, 20% friends, family, 20% sleep. Okay. So Harshit, your total has to be 100%. So when you're posting your response, ensure that you post the total. Fair enough. That's okay. That's okay. Great. I can see the pizzas coming up in the chat box. Good job on that. Let's wait for everyone to complete this exercise. And then I'll tell you what we need to do. It would be great if you have a paper and a pen in front of you, and if you can actually draw a pizza and divide it into different slices. I think that will be engaging for you, if at all you want to do that. Wonderful. So I see interesting and amazing and different kind of pizzas coming in the chat box. Wonderful. Rachna, it is just one pizza that you're dividing it in different slices. Okay, so ensure that you only put one. I like this response by Kanishka. Kanish says 30% family friends, 40% study, 10% sleeping, and 20% my time. Right? Think of it. Do we ever spend time with yourself? I think that's a wonderful thing to do, and 20% is a good number, I would say. So good job on that. Hemant says 30% gaming, 20% study, 15% social media, 10% sleep, 10% family. Wonderful. Great. Great. So I see responses coming in the chat box. I'm so happy to see those responses. So this is your pizza one. This is how your current pizza looks like, right? I want you to make another pizza and name that pizza as pizza 2. And I want you to include all the activities that you wanted to do, but somehow you were not able to do it. right? Now understand one thing, your pizza 1 might already have a few activities, correct, and the total is already 100%. तो जब आप पिज्जा 2 बनाओगे उसमें कुछ नए एक्टिविटीज डालोगे तो ensure that you allocate equal percentage. So, say for example, I see Ayush's pizza, he says 30% surfing on social media. And Ayush thinks, nahi, I think I need to learn a new language. I also need to spend time in learning a new language. So most likely 10% he can allocate learning a new language, and he can reduce the time that he spends in front of television, probably 20%, right? So how this pizza is helping us, one is it's helping us understand what is our as in condition, that what are we doing currently, and how do we want it to be, right? So this is our as in condition. The pizza 1 is our as in condition. The condition that is today, and how we want our pizza to be will be pizza 2. Okay, so I want you to make another pizza, include everything that you wanted to do, but somehow you did not have the time. But remember, when you're including that, your total has to be 100%. Okay, so I'll give you another 2 to 3 minutes, complete that and post your pizza 2 in the chat box. I hope it's clear. Pizza 2. Okay, so I'll just give you another 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, Antara says she's very happy with the current pizza. Wonderful. Shreya, if I may ask you, what changes have you made in your second pizza? How was your pizza 1, and what changes did you make in your second pizza? Yes, Shreya. So can you share what changes have you made from pizza 1 to pizza 2? Even Rohan, for that matter. What changes did you make? It completely depends on you, Shreya, the time that you would want to spend. So I cannot say if it's right or wrong. If the time that you spend is right according to you and it is helping you get closer to your goals, then why not? Nishan says 40% spending time with friends, 20% workout, 30% traveling, 10% sleep. Wonderful. Great. So what changes have you made in pizza 2, Nishan? From pizza 1 to pizza 2, what changes have you made? Okay, Vaishali wants to allocate another 20% for dancing classes and probably 80% to traveling. Nice. Great. So good, great to know your responses. So this is a wonderful activity for all of us to know what is our as in condition, what is the condition that we are in by pizza 1, and how do we want our condition to be in pizza 2, right? We said there are few things that we want to include, कुछ चीजें हैं जो हमें include करनी है, but we don't have the time and bandwidth. Most likely because we are doing certain tasks which are not important. It could be watching television, or it could be, zooming social media, whatever it could be, right? So of course, if I ask this question, which pizza do you like the most, pizza 1 or pizza 2, most of y'all will say pizza 2. Why? Because it includes those activities that you want to do but somehow you don't have the time, right? Now how will you have the time? We'll look into it, but this is your actually a self realization exercise for you to know this is your as in condition, this is how it is, and pizza 2 describes how do you want it to be, right? All right, so I'm going to show you all a quick little video. We're going to do a little video analysis, and I want you to closely observe the video and tell me what did you learn from this. But before that, let's quickly have a look at this picture. I want you to have a look at this picture and tell me what do you see. What is it that you see in the picture? And the question is, does this happen to us? Has this happened to us before? Okay, Rachna says yes, it has happened to me before. Many times. Okay, that's what Prachi says. Happened to her many times. So the question is this lady a good tired or is she a bad tired? Is she a good tired or is she a bad tired? Okay, Nishant says never happened to me. Lucky you. Good. Shreya says she's a good tired. Okay, do you think she's a good tired? She's toggling between so many tasks. She's doing so much and somehow she's not able to find the time. Yeah. Bad tired, correct. Sometimes when we do work, and like for example yesterday when I had a training with you guys, I somehow didn't even realize how the time was flying, right? So that's the time when I figured out that this particular lady is I was very much satisfied with what I did, and I went to bed with a completely clear head in my mind. I was a good tired. Sometimes you do a lot of tasks. Okay, Nidhi says multitasking is also a good quality, I think. Okay, but again, multitasking is a great quality. But again, do you think so? She's able to multitask. There's so many things that she's toggling between, right? End of the day, would she be able to get an appropriate sleep? Rohan says, I see an employee working immensely hard, and a boss is maybe blind to see that she's already overloaded with work. Okay, fair enough. All right. Okay, so we're going to look at one technique that can definitely help us manage our time better. But I want to know from you all, what are few things that we can do to manage our time? So we have understood what is our condition right now. There are few things that we want to do, but somehow we don't have the time, right? So let me ask you this question: how can we manage our time better? What is it that we can do? Okay, Vaishali says multitasking is good, but we should work smartly. Agreed. So what is it that we can do to manage our time better? Okay, we can divide our work. That's a nice one, Harshit. Can you unmute and tell me what can we do in that case? Make a proper schedule. That's a nice one. Yes, Aditya. I think that's an age-old nuska that we use, right? We make a schedule of what we have to do the next day. Agreed. Prioritize your work. Yes, that's another age-old nuska that we use. Give proper time to each task. Okay, that's something that we also have practiced. Do urgent work first, then the important ones. Lovely. That's a nice response, Rohan. The Eisenhower matrix says the same thing. Urgent, important should be done first. Agreed. Focus. All right. Focus is something that we should not lose. Okay. Focus. Agreed. What other things can we look at when we say that?
Sure.
Yeah.
मेरा मतलब we can divide our work means that कि अकॉर्डिंग टू टाइम की अगर हमें पढ़ाई करनी है तो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल प्रायोरिटी हमारी पढ़ाई की है, तो फिर उसको फर्स्ट उस पे रखेंगे, फिर सेकंड पे जो हमारी एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर एक्टिविटी है उसको, फिर दूसरी चीज वैसे है सर.
तो प्रायोरिटी सेट करने बोल रहे हो ना, फर्स्ट प्रायोरिटी पे.
हाँ, yes
So,
sir, yes sir.
Absolutely right. And again, one more thing that we can understand from this is what's important for you is not necessarily important for everybody. Correct? आपके लिए अगर health and exercise important है, not necessary that every other person will have health and exercise as an important element. Right? Rachna says we must stick to a time limit for work and must have our hands free with our family while our family is asking us for. Okay, fair enough. Vivek says we should avoid distractions to save time and manage it properly. I completely agree on this, Vivek. There are two. Okay, I think somebody is on mute. Okay, so I think that the two biggest monsters that we all are dealing with currently is procrastination and distraction, right? There's so many distractions that we have in front of us. Yeah, we go to YouTube, we want to look for a specific video, and there are so many distractions around, and then we completely forget about that video. We get into those distractions. Like yesterday, I was looking for a cooking recipe at night, and somehow I happened to see something else, and I went around and I started looking into it. That's exactly what distractions are, and it happens to the best of us, right? And second is of course procrastination. I think procrastination is the idea of delaying something, and I think that's the most commonly found reason why people waste a lot of time. They don't want to do it now. Rohan says, I think that's a nice one, Rohan. Learn to say no to work like saying no to work which can be handled by other co-worker. I agree on that. There have been so many times, and I think almost all of us face difficulty in saying no, right? We don't want to say no to people, most likely because we share a good relationship with them. right? I'm not comfortable saying no to my parent or to my colleague or to my friend because I share a good bond with them. And that is where we are risking ourselves, right? We are risking ourselves and saying, okay, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Because our health, our mental health, and our self-esteem is at stake when we are saying no, right? So again, let's look at one practical technique that can definitely help you manage your time better. I call it the RAC technique: record, analyze, and change. Okay, we'll have a look at the video first, understand what the technique is trying to say, and then we will talk about it. Just give me a minute. Let me know once my screen is visible to everyone.
It's visible.
All right, wonderful. Thank you. Let's watch this little video and then we'll talk about it.
Are you constantly finding yourself behind at work or school? Do you arrive at the end of the day and realize you've accomplished nothing on your to-do list? Well, odds are you're not very good at time management. And that is not doing your psychological health any favors. In fact, a study published in Work and Stress found that workers who didn't productively manage their time felt less in control of their lives. Here's the good news. You can get better. Paying attention to how you spend your time will help you manage it more effectively. And we're going to help you learn how to do just that. Today on Wellcast, we're going to get you in control of your day with our RAC method: recording, analyzing, and changing. 3 easy steps to great time management. Pause and print a copy of our handy Wellcast day planner. Finish printing? Let's dive in. Step 1, recording. When you wake up tomorrow, note the time in your day planner. As the day progresses, write down everything that you do. Yes, we mean everything. The 10 minutes you spent getting dressed, the half day of productive work, the hours you spent between social networking sites, we mean it all. Keep this up from the time you wake up until you go to sleep. Step 2, analyzing. At the end of the day, go through the schedule and highlight any chunks of time that you don't feel were used productively. Pick out your 5 biggest time wasters in your day. Be honest with yourself. You spent a half an hour by the coffee machine talking to your coworker. You spent an hour on Facebook, and you stared into space for 20 minutes. Come on, you get the picture. Especially focus on the time wasters at work. Why? A study published by the British Medical Journal says that workplace stress is minimized by effective time management. It also says that workplace stress bleeds over into home life and undermines a relaxed life at home. Here's the ugly part. Add up all the time you wasted. How much productive time did you blow on activities that got you no results? Step 3, changing. Now it's time to come up with a way to get that time back. Here are 3 ways to change your time-wasting habits and become a better time manager. Prioritize. To-do lists are a really effective way to manage your time and your priorities. Limit the number of tasks you have on this list to 5 and assign rankings to them in order of importance. Declutter. Not only is decluttering great for your health, but you won't waste time digging around piles of stuff to find that one piece of paper that you really need. Check out our Wellcast on Clutter for some helpful tips on lightening your load. Schedule. Hey, we all try to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, but odds are multitasking will actually just stress you out and delay you even more. Instead, set aside blocks of time for individual activities. For each activity, set start and stop points. This way your day is cleanly segmented. Then stick to this schedule. Try going 1 week using these tips to reduce your wasted time. At the end of a week, go figure out where you've improved your time management skills and how much time you've saved. Let's recap. Today you learned how to manage your time better by using our Wellcast RAC method. You recorded, analyzed, and hopefully changed how you use your time. You did this by learning how to prioritize your most important tasks, declutter your workspace to save you time, and you learned how to build yourself an effective schedule to block out your day. Hey, how did RAC work for you? We want
All right, so let me ask you, what learnings have we picked up from this specific video? What is it that we learned? the rack model. So how many of us actually go through situations where you don't even record certain things and you're subconsciously doing certain things, right? In the first part of record, we observe that sometimes we might even stare at from outside from the window, look out what's happening around. We don't even realize how much time we are investing, right? Or probably spending 10 minutes at the coffee machine. We never know. It's just very subconscious that we do, but we are wasting time, right? So the first thing is what we need to do is record the number of things or the bunch of tasks that you do in a day. Even 10 minutes you spend time watching TV, go ahead and make a list and record it in your recorder, right? The second thing that you can do is analyze what are the few things that you need to change. I still remember in my school, my teacher used to tell me, sit on the first bench, don't sit on the last bench. I'm sure we have had teachers who used to say that, right? The reason why is because when you sit on the first bench, you're only able to see the board, right? But when you sit on the last bench, you have the view of the entire class, and there are so many distractions that are happening around. You cannot focus what's happening. So the less the radius, the more easier your concentration is. Same goes for your cluttered house. If you keep your house cluttered, you're adding a lot of stress to your life. Yeah. And last is possibly change. She said possibly because most of us don't try to invest a lot of time in changing. Why? Because we would want to stick around to the old traditional methods of how we utilize time. But I think a record, analyze, change is a great tool, because first you record all the transactions that you do in a day, possibly analyze them, understand how you are spending time, and then try to change them. Yes, I had somebody raise their hand. Kashish, I think that was Kashish. You want to say something? Was that Kashish who raised her hand? You want to say something? Please go ahead. I would love to hear your inputs. I just not me talking. I would love to hear you guys also speak. Okay, I'd like to know your views, any inputs that you guys have for this video that you saw, or any additional inputs that you have. That's a nice one, Rohan. Rohan says, we need to understand our mind is really good at fooling us. We have to consciously be aware of us, maybe by reminding the consequences of not doing the work. True, agreed. Right. So priorities is something that we need to look at, right? What's important for me is not necessarily important for you, right? So I might go work out in the gym. I might spend 2 hours. Not necessary that you have to do the same thing, right? That's a good one, Rohan. Nice. Anybody else with any other observations? Okay, so keep busy yourself in your hobbies. Okay, fair enough. All right, so we're going to move on to the next part. I hope this was informative, and we started off with Pizza of Life. We understood where we are, and in Pizza 2 we made a where we want to be, and most of us would like where we want to be, because that's exactly where it will lead us. And then we looked around a specific tool called Rack Model that can help us reach that Pizza 2 that we have planned for ourselves, right? So that was a whole exercise on time management. That's a good one, Shreya. Yes, somebody wants to say something. उसको execute कैसे करे? Somebody says we'll prepare the list, but उसको execute कैसे करे? See, that's exactly what the change is, right? No, it's very difficult for all of us to make modifications in what we are currently doing. Very difficult, right? So it's like yesterday also, ma'am, when she was saying, she said, until unless you don't dive into the pool, you will not learn. But we are not willing to step into that zone of uncomfortableness, right? We don't want to do that. We all want to live in absolute comfort, right? That 90 seconds of stepping outside your comfort zone and doing something brave is something that we're not willing to do. That's one reason why most of us don't get into that zone. Yes, I saw somebody raising their hand. Go ahead. Somebody just raised their hand. Okay, by mistake. All right, fair enough. No worries. Okay, great, wonderful. Thank you for that. I think okay, I see Shreya saying try bhi kiya list banane ka nahi ho pata, like 2-3 activities according to that, but not all. Okay, that's what I'm saying, Shreya. There are a lot of distractions that we have around. We need to work on those distractions, right? Set up priorities, right? And one more thing that I want to highlight. you can ask this question to yourself every time you try to do an activity. Is it important for me right now, and is it helping me get more closer to my goals? These are two questions that you constantly need to ask yourself. Today, if I switch on my TV and I want to watch something, I will ask myself this question: is it important for me right now? I'll say yes, I had a long day and I think I need some entertainment for me, so I switched on my TV. So first question ka answer is okay, it is important for me right now. Is it helping me get more closer to my goals? Most likely not. Why? Because I'm watching something that's not relevant to helping me get more closer to my goal. But yeah, it can help me get more closer to mental peace. Yes, then I will go ahead and watch it. Right. So these two questions are very important when it comes to time management. Right. So first of all, identifying what your goal is, and keep asking yourself this question: is it important for me right now, and will it help me get more closer to my goals? If answers are no for both of these, then you know that you shouldn't be doing those tasks. And again, I'm saying it takes 21 days to form a new habit. So if in case you feel that एक या दो दिन में magic हो जाएगा, that's not possible. Yeah, that's like walking up to a gym trainer and saying, hey, I need to lose weight in the next 2 days, which is absolutely not possible. Right? It's like wishful thinking. Okay, Rohan says people also okay, Shreya says no, 21 days is myth. Okay, most likely she's tried it. Fair enough. All right. Rohan says people don't procrastinate when they don't have the clarity about the work they have to do. For getting the clarity, we have to step into the zone of discomfort and do something to get the clarity. Once we have the clarity, I promise no one can stop you. Such a beautiful way of expressing, Rohan. Thanks for that. Lovely response. Okay, fair enough. So this was about managing your time better. I hope this was helpful. And try out the rack model, see if it works for you. And of course, it takes time. In 1 or 2 days, it won't happen. And again, you can also go ahead and practice your age-old method of to-do list that we prepare, right? And accordingly prioritize your time, right? Okay, fair enough. So we are going to move ahead with the next topic. Just give me a minute. Let me quickly share my screen again. All right. So yesterday, students, we took a session on resume building. I also promised you one thing. I said I will teach you email etiquette as well. And most of the students also expressed the need of learning email etiquettes. So I'm just going to quickly, I'm going to spend half an hour, make you all understand email etiquette and the CAR model that you can use while drafting emails. Just a minute, please. Let me know if my screen is visible. I'm not sure if my screen is visible.
Yes, sir. Visible.
Okay, thank you. It's not moving though. All right, so let's start with why email etiquette is important. Now, yesterday we started off this session. I said one thing to you all. I said cover letter was something that we used to practice earlier, but nowadays we don't use cover letters. Now, most of us will land up sending emails to your recruiters in terms of job application. So email etiquette is important because when you send a text message to somebody, it's a more informal way of communication, like WhatsApp. I've also seen recruiters nowadays getting in touch with candidates on WhatsApp, right? So if you are getting in touch, I mean, if any written mode of communication, you should know the basic etiquettes, right? You might have a very nicely put resume, but again, when you're sending an email, if you don't follow the basic etiquettes, the impression goes down. I'm not saying you'll face a rejection, but the impression will definitely go down. So email etiquette, it is important because when you're having a one-on-one connect with somebody on an email, it's a written document. You can always refer to it later. That's one reason why it's very popular. Email etiquette is very popular in the corporate world, right? Okay, let me start by asking this question to you. What kind of writer are you? Okay, of course, if you have not written an email, most likely you must have sent messages on WhatsApp. So there are 3 categories that you see on the screen. Which category do you belong to? Are you somebody who think after writing? Are you somebody who think while writing? Or someone who thinks before writing? Which category do you belong? Prachi says while writing. Fair enough. Okay, same here. Even I'm somebody who thinks while writing.
Sir, it can be 2.
Okay, how is it possible?
Sir, it depends on the time also and situation.
Okay. So think after writing is when you have already written, sent it to the other person, and then you're thinking, "Arey, maine ye bhej diya." Right? While writing is you're typing the message and thinking. And before writing is before sending that text message, you're thinking before writing, "Arey, kya likhna hai?" So all these 3 things cannot happen at once. You have to select either one. Okay, I think while writing, before writing, okay. Interesting. Fair enough. So before even we get into the pool of learning or understanding emails, let me quickly show you a few emails. I want you to use your eye to detail and identify the errors. Okay, so this is the first email. I want you to have a look at it and identify the errors. What errors did you observe in this email? Subject error, okay, is not much described. Agreed, Shreya. It just says approval. Approval of what? We have no idea. Agreed. No salutation. I like how we use this word salutation instead of saying greetings. Thanks for that, Bhuvi. Yes, there is no salutation. Email ID is wrong. Grammatical mistakes. So guys, when you say grammatical mistakes, very informal punctuations, I'd like to know, and I would want you to highlight few errors. Okay, because when you say grammatical mistakes, it's just very generic. If you can highlight, that will be great. Punctuation errors. Yes, Aditya. There are punctuation errors. Lakshmi says subject is not described, content not up to date, it's lengthy, greetings and closing missing. Okay, yeah. The signature is missing. Agreed. Yes, yesterday's instead of yesterday's. Wonderful. Good observation. Concluding part is wrong. Okay, salutation is missing. Fine. Wonderful. How about this one? The second one is easier for you to recognize. How about the second one? What mistakes can
It's
you?
like a millennial email.
Millennial lingo. Okay. Fair enough. Very informal. The spelling of deer is incorrect. First one was so lengthy. Spelling mistakes, plenty of them. So see, you will either take the other person seriously based on the writing the other person has displayed, right? Many spellings are incorrect. Agreed, Kanish. Yes. So students, one thing, spelling mistakes, okay, informal language. Yeah, WhatsApp language, absolutely right. Right. So when you look at it, there are plenty of mistakes that we have observed. Let's understand this, a typical structure of communication. So every time we are communicating with somebody, there are two things that we need to understand. If it's an email communication, two things. One is the audience to whom I'm sending an email. And second is the purpose of why I'm sending an email to someone, right? So who is my audience, right? The audience to whom my mail is written, and what is the purpose of me sending an email to somebody, right? So these are two things that we need to take care of when we are looking at a typical structure for communication. Yesterday, I told you all I'll be teaching you a nice technique or a nice tool called the CAR model. Let's look at what a CAR model is, and we will take it up from there. So I know that when you start working in your respective organizations, email etiquette will be taught to you, but we'll just look at the basics of what a CAR model looks like. So CAR model is describing the body of your email basically. Now, when I say body of your email, your body of your email should be divided in 3 paragraphs. Not necessary every email, but yeah, few scenarios where you can ignore 3 paragraphs. But ideally, your email should be divided in 3 paragraphs. Like when you go back and see this email, you know for a fact that it's unprofessional. When you read it, you understand a few words, you know that these words shouldn't be used in emails. And if I was a recruiter, I will definitely not take this person seriously because of the words that he has chosen to use, right? So when you look at the CAR model, there are 3 things: context, action, and results. It's like opening, body, and closure that was taught to us in our schools, right? Opening hona chahiye, body of the mail hona chahiye, and last mein closure or end hona chahiye. It's exactly the same thing, right? So first is context, setting the context right in the first paragraph. What is the action that you want the other person to take in the second paragraph? And what is the outcome or the result that you're expecting in the third paragraph? Okay, for example, I'll give you a very practical example to describe this for you. So suppose you're drafting an email to your recruiter for a job application and you're also attaching your CV. How would you use CAR model here? before we go there, first let's understand the subject line of your email. If you go back and look at the other two subject lines, the very first email that we saw, the subject line was only approval. Approval of what? We don't know, right? So if you just only mention approval, it does not work. So it's like, reading a newspaper with the title, right? You'll only take interest in the body if the title is, strong enough. So that's why your title of your email or your subject of your email should be descriptive, right? When I say descriptive, not more than 5 to 6 sentences. Now, for example, say you're applying for a post of junior accountant or accountant, you might want to put the name of the post, that is junior or senior accountant, and the reason why you are sending this email. So the reason has to come first and then the purpose. So the reason is regarding job application and the purpose is for the position of senior accountant, senior executive accountant. So do you think this is a fulfilling subject line? Can you recommend few more subject lines in this in the chat box for me, please, for this email? I hope you have understood the scenario. The scenario is draft an email to your recruiter for a job application and attach your CV. So this is the scenario. I want you to give me a appropriate subject line. You of course see one that I've posted on the screen, but I want you to also think of a subject line similar to these grounds. You can also post your response in the chat box or unmute and speak, whatever works best for you. Yes, can somebody recommend me some interesting subject lines for this particular email? I have mentioned one, but I want open to work, accountant. Okay, fair enough. Open to work, Lakshmi, sounds a little casual. The only problem with us as students is when we step out of college, we kind of don't upgrade our vocabularies to business English. And when we don't do that, it becomes very difficult for us to impress our interviewer or even for our interviewer to take us seriously. I like this one, accountant job application. Yes. Applying for the job of senior executive. Fair enough. So I want you to use more business-like words. Don't worry, I'll be sharing my screen with you guys. We will have a look at few business words as well. But I want you to first give it a try. Yes, Arjun. Applying for the job of risk manager. Okay. Applying for the post of an accountant. Yes. Rohan is saying, what else can we use in the place of dear before sir, ma'am? Rohan, you can always use hi. Hi is a pretty standard way of greeting someone. Do not use hello because hello is used in telephone conversations. I recommend you to use hi. And most likely, respected, Ankita, you use respected when you're writing a letter. You are using email, which is electronic mode of communication. It has different set of etiquettes altogether. So respected sir, ma'am is something that you use when you're sending a letter or a cover letter. But when it is email, it is important that you use a hi or dear. Saksham, greetings is not needed because you have already written hi and the name of the person. So again, I've seen so many students saying hi, the name of the person, and they say greetings of the day. Not needed, not necessary. Why are you putting that? You're already saying hi to that person, right? Why are you putting greetings of the day? So that's not needed. Ankita is giving a thumbs up. Okay, fair enough. Okay, without mentioning hi, okay, I think hi is a very professional way of greeting somebody on an email. If you, in case you don't want to use dear, that's absolutely fine. I would recommend you to use hi. Dear sir / ma'am, you put a comma because comma is important. Look, if you look at the first paragraph defines the context. The context basically means what is the reason why you're sending an email. So the reason is in reference to job application, that you're interested in applying for that position and you also feel that you're the right fit. That's the first paragraph, initial first paragraph, right? The second paragraph is I have attached my resume, please do check, which is the action part. You want the other person to take some action. So the action is that you have attached your resume and you're requesting your recruiter to have a look at it. And the third paragraph is the result or the outcome. Now, when the result or the outcome is usually put, people say that, awaiting your kind response or positive response. Leave it to the recruiter. You don't decide whether it has to be positive or negative. And don't put the other person on pressure as well, right? Positive, negative, let the other person decide. So here you can simply put looking forward to hearing from you, right? That is a result that you're expecting from the recruiter. So see how we have divided our emails in 3 paragraphs using the CAR model. The first paragraph talks about the context. The second paragraph talks about the action, and the third paragraph talks about the result. Let me know if you have any questions so far. Then comes your signature, which is regards. You put in your name with your surname, with your and your contact number as well, right? So that's how a standard email should be written. I have also seen students saying I am attaching my resume in the second paragraph, and that's wrong English, because when you say I'm attaching my resume, and once you click on send, the email will reach to your recruiter as I'm attaching my resume, whereas the resume is already attached. So that's wrong English. So let me take a pause for breath for a minute. I want you to see, have a look at this and let me know if you have any questions. So this is how a CAR model looks like. The first paragraph is the context. The second paragraph is the action. And the third paragraph is the result or the outcome. No, Harshit, not at all. There should capitalization unnecessary should be avoided, because when you use capitals in emails without any reason, that basically means you're shouting at somebody. That's the first rule of email etiquette, that you never use caps lock on. If there is something which is alphanumeric that you need to share, and if that requires capitalization, you can go ahead and do it. But otherwise, unnecessary capitalization should be avoided. Okay, that basically means you're shouting at the other person, yeah, which you don't intend to, but that's exactly what you're saying. All right, fair enough. Can we take a pause here? Let me know if you have any questions. Please put them in the chat box. I'll be more than happy for you to answer. I know yesterday a lot of students were requesting me for another Quizzy session, a Quizzy game. Don't worry, we will jump onto that. But before that, let me first quickly answer a few questions that you might have, because that's more important than jumping onto Quizzy. Are we all okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're all okay. Wonderful. All right, I see a few questions coming up here. 1 minute, please. Please find attached my resume for your kind consideration. Okay, Anushka has put this response. Anushka says, please find attached my resume. Understand one thing, students, avoid using this word, please find attachment, because please find attachment basically means the other person or the recruiter has to find your attachment. And it's there in the email. He's not supposed to find it anywhere. So that's wrong English, Anushka. It's old English, I would say. It's an English that we used to use earlier. We don't use that anymore. Yes, it's absolutely fine, Vivek. I think that was Vivek's question. He said, is it okay to put in your phone number? Yes, you can. Phone number is fine, Vivek. It doesn't make, it's one way that the recruiter can reach out to you. So yes, enclosed resume below is also fine. You can go for that. How comfortable are we with the CAR model? Are we okay with the CAR model? Okay, so we'll move on to the next part, and I'm going to give you 2 to 3 minutes. If you have time, you can take a screenshot of it. I think most of my students prefer taking a screenshot. I will be showing you all a list of words. Now, of all the 8 years of experience that I have summarized my 8 years of experience in this sheet. So please ensure that you, have a look at it at least. This sheet includes all the words that I have recorded by students So every time I visited a college, or every time I've happened to have an interaction with any student, I've had those instances where they have spoken to me, and I've recorded those conversations, and I've tried to find out replacements of those words. Now, the reason why I did that is because when I heard them, I know for a fact that they're speaking the right English, but the vocabulary is still college-like, right? So you see on the left, there are a few bunch of words that are casual English, and on the right, you see a few words that are business English. I'll zoom it for you guys so that you can have a clear look at the screen. Let me know if it's clearly visible to all of you.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay, fair enough. So the only issue is that, when I interact with students, I'm very happy to interact with them. But when I listen some very casual words that they use, I try to find a replacement. So I have, say, around 50 odd words that you see on the screen. It's just an amalgamation of my hard work. All the words that you see, casual English, can be replaced with business English that you see on the right. The only thing is, students, you can use this in your CV, in the conversation that you have with people, and in your resume as well. Written as well as spoken communication, go ahead and use these words. I'll highlight a few words for you, very basic words that we use every day. Like, for example, this word many. Many can be replaced with one single word, multiple. You're saying the same thing but differently. Compulsory. It's compulsory for you to attend this training. Can we use a better word, mandatory? You're saying the same thing but differently. Some can be replaced with few. Again, same word, but you're using it much better way of, and again, I would request you, if you have time, please go ahead, frame a few sentences and post them in the chat box. Let me understand how are we able to frame. Like, for example, students, this word very. Now, this word very is commonly used in English, especially by Indians. Right? If you want to say something that's absolutely important, we say very, 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 very important, right? Because somehow our vocabulary is poor, we don't know which word can replace this word very. So we have few words like crucial or critical. Instead of saying two words, that's very important, we are using one single word, that is crucial or critical, right? Yeah, that's a nice one, Shreya. I'm adhering to your instructions. Yeah, don't miss out on supporting verbs when you're speaking. Also, students, there's one more thing that I want to highlight is every time when you have a conversation with somebody, please ensure that you use professional words. And I think this sheet should definitely help you, right? Also, the problem with us as Indians is there's a lot of redundancy when we speak. Redundancy basically means we tend to repeat the same information again. Like, for example, very important. And the problem with us Indians is we don't have patience as well. So we don't completely listen to what the other person is saying. It's like, it's human psychology. Like, how many of you all read terms and conditions? I'm sure none of you all read terms and conditions because they're too lengthy. Same goes for emails and same goes for conversations. If you speak lengthy words and lengthy conversations, people will not take interest in your speech. That's exactly what happens. Okay, dubious, irate, sparingly, सामने वाले को Google करना. I agree, Rohan. That's why अगर आप जब हमने start किया था email etiquette, उसमें मैंने एक चीज बताई थी, right? The email जिसको हम लिख रहे हैं, we should know the audience, right? First of all, you should be aware to which person you're sending an email. And if you're sending an email to a person who wouldn't understand these words, then that's not a problem of that person. The problem is you. You have not chosen the right vocabulary. So अगर आप dubious, irate, sparingly use कर रहे हैं आपके ऐसे audience के साथ जिन्हें ये word समझ में नहीं आ सकते, so that's your problem. That's how it is. So that's one reason why I said email जिसको भेजना है या communication जिससे कर रहे हैं, only use these words with them. And again, only those words which they'll understand. Very important. So thanks for that, Rohan. Thanks for highlighting that. Most likely, if they don't understand your vocabulary, it's majorly because you have not known your audience. You don't know who your audience is properly. That's the thing. Can I scroll down? Let me know if I can scroll down. There are more words, or probably have a look at these words first and then I'll scroll down. Okay, I'm quickly scrolling down for you guys. Please have a look at few more words. See which are the words that you can actually use. Very basic word, like for example, here you see not well. I've literally seen a graduated student saying, sir, I'm not well today, so I didn't attend your training. Come on, use the word unwell. You're saying the same thing, but try to use a better vocabulary. When I talk to somebody who says I'm not well today, I know for a fact that I'm talking to an 18-year-old or a 19-year-old guy. Most likely that's not your age, but that's what you're trying to represent. Like, I got your email. That's another issue that I've observed. When people say I got your email, use a better vocabulary, say received. Just have a look at these words and let me know if you don't understand anything. So there is a beautiful word that you see called onus. I'm sure, please go ahead, use this word, because responsibility is a huge word. So instead of using the word responsibility, you can probably choose to use a better word called onus. Saying the same thing, but differently. Okay, I'm just going to quickly scroll down. I think this is the end of it, almost the end of it. So yeah. The few words that you see, the last 15 words, I think these are very common ones. So I would recommend you to have a look at them. Not available. I think this is my favorite word. I've seen so many people say not available, say unavailable. Same thing. Just kind of highlighting a few words. ओके कबीर से ओनस से वो फील नहीं आता है, रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी सुन के फील आता है कि हाँ बहुत बड़ा वर्ड है, कुछ बड़ा करने जा रहे हैं. ओके फेयर इनफ. या आई कैन कंप्लीटली रिलेट टू दैट कबीर. रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऐसे बड़ा वर्ड को यूज करता है, हम बोलते हैं हाँ कुछ बड़ा करने जा रहे हैं. ओनस बोलेंगे तो नहीं, फील नहीं आता है. सही बात है. एग्रीड. बट फील आना जरूरी है या इंप्रेशन बनाना जरूरी है, that's more important. And again, the reason why I have made the list of these words so that you can have a look at it and see if you want to use. I am not forcing you to use them, but see if you can use them. It will be great. Yeah, Harshit says sometimes speaker don't understand a word. What do we do? वही problem है ना हर्षित, speaker की vocabulary को समझ के आपको इन ये words use करने हैं. Right? Not necessary कि आपकी vocabulary को match करे आपके speaker. So, like for example, I'm talking to students right now. I cannot use words that are very different from their understanding. They will not understand. So मैं मेरी audience देख के बात करूंगा. I'll only use these words with. I'll use this vocabulary only with those people who understand the vocabulary. Very important. Yeah. Fair enough. So any questions here? Can we move ahead swiftly?
Yes, sir.
Fine. All right. Analyzing your audience is very important, Shreya. I think that is a great thing to do. Analyze your audience. Know what is the level of audience that you're dealing with. If you're talking to your friend, most likely he or she would not be comfortable if you use these words. But if you're talking to an HR executive or some professional person, I'm sure that he or she would definitely want to, you want to use these words. All right, fair enough. So yesterday on public demand, I would say I had got people asking me, sir, वो game वापस से खेलना पड़ेगा. I know a lot of people actually missed out participating in that. So no worries. I think we can go ahead. We have some time. So I'm just going to quickly share the link to all of you in the chat box. It's a game. It's a session on email etiquette, quiz on email etiquette. I'd request you guys to join in that link and click on start like how you all did yesterday, and then we can start the game. All right, so I see people joining in. There are 55, 56, the number is going on. Let's wait for all the students to complete. I'll just give another 1 or 2 minutes and then we will start. Okay, so should we start? I think it's a good time to start. I'll just give students, if you're not able to log in, I am definitely going to share the link again in the chat box because I see 178 students and only few have joined in. So go ahead, join in as soon as possible. I think we need to start this game and move on with the session. So please go ahead, join this link and we will start. So there are 10 questions for this quiz on email etiquette, and most likely try answering all 10. And let's see by the end who wins this particular game. All right. Okay. So I think we should start. Okay, so let's start. I'm clicking on start now. We are 79 of us. Let's see how the game shapes up. The very best. Let's see who wins this particular game. Quickly click on stop share so that we can start answering. All right, so I see Bhuvi on the top, followed by Robin. Okay. Very basic questions, guys. I think we'll be able to crack it. Kabir is second now. Wonderful. Okay, Lakshmi is also reached on the second place. Wonderful. Okay, so I'm quickly going to display the dashboard for you guys to see how it looks like and where are we placed. There you go. So Bhuvi remains at the top, followed by Kabir, Harshita, Robin. Okay, a few people have not even tried. Why is that so? Jyoti, Sakshi, guys have not tried yet. All right, there's quite some competition that's happening at the top, which is wonderful. Good to know. Okay, now Harshita has stopped in, followed by Bhuvi, Naveen, Kabir, Sushant. Sushant is almost completed. All right, come on. I want to see some more changing figures at the top. I see Harshita has completed, followed by Bhuvi, Naveen. Okay. Vedic is on the top now. Wonderful. This game, let's see who's the winner. Okay, Harshita is at the first place. So great job. Well done, Harshita. Congratulations, followed by Vedic and Bhuvi. Great. Thank you, guys. I think it was amazing. And I hope that this email etiquette part was also clear for all of us. And congratulations. Great job. And very well done, Harshita. Okay, so should we move on to the next part now? Should we swiftly move on to the other part of our training today?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so students, there are times where I have, of course, with changing times comes changing ways of taking interviews. I have happened to take interview of few IIM graduates. Now, apparently, the best part about taking interview from IIM graduates is the fact that I got to interact with a lot of students via visuals. Now, what is this? There's something called as Resume, which is video resume, where students send their self introductions to us and we have to evaluate that based on various parameters. Okay, we are not going to look at those parameters right away. First, we'll have a look at their self introductions. I want you to carefully observe and analyze. 1 minute, please. Yeah, I want you to carefully observe and analyze the way the person is introducing himself, along with his body language, the tone of voice, his facial expressions, his attire, and then we will discuss in length. Okay, let me quickly share my screen. Then the first person to introduce is Sandeep Kumar. We'll have a look at the way he's introducing. Please ensure that you have a notebook handy in front of you or anywhere where you can take notes. All right, so I will start the video now. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
All right, fair enough. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sandeep Kumar and I'm interested in seeking sales and marketing position with a fast-growing organization. Owing to my year-and-a-half tenure with Child Rights NU NGO as a head intern of fundraising team, I was able to embody strong interpersonal skills and effectively initiating and strengthening business communication. Prior to my NGO experience, I worked as a market researcher for 2 startups, which gave me an insight on customer focus and relationships. I therefore put high value on customer relationships and strive to come up with solutions for the ever-changing customer requirement. Throughout my life, I have taken a lot of roles such as core committee member of my technical festival, football team captain and president of my dance group in my college. And other than that, I have been football trainer and photography trainer for underprivileged kids during my NGO stint. And currently, I am the associate member of corporate relations and placement team in FMS Delhi. I have been told by others that I have boundless energy and Jugaad is embedded in my systems with a smile that never quits. If you're looking for an organized, focused, and a highly motivated individual, I am your candidate. Thank you.
Okay, all right. I think that was Sandeep Kumar. May I ask your observations? What is something that you observed in the video? And I would love if you would also unmute and speak. Anyone who would like to unmute and express. Yeah, that's a nice one, Saksham. He says he was selling his USPs, which is unique selling proposition. Yes, agreed. But I want you to look at from an interviewer per se. What are few things that you would observe when you watch this video? Right? How was the self-introduction? Yes, Robin, go ahead.
Gaurang, I felt that he used the art of storytelling in this from the very beginning to the end. He was speaking in a way that he's telling the person sitting in front of him a story.
Okay.
The second thing, what I liked about this is that whatever work he has done in the fields, he has proven them with the example. Because as yesterday you guys said, people cannot see your intangible services. But with examples, he had made them clear that I have done this. If I have this is the reference from where I can say this is there in me. And while he was ending, he added his own personal touch, like using the word jugaad.
Yeah. Yes.
That was the thing which which will click in another person's mind. That okay, we can have that. Not only professional, but if on a level we have to have a personal interaction, I can go to this person. So that was my observation on the same.
Wonderful. One question to you, Robin. Now you just expressed a few things. I want you to tell me, if it's a virtual interview, what are few things that an interviewer should keep in mind? An interviewer, not an interviewee.
Interview should keep in mind.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, I have never have an interview.
You've never had. But what, according to you, are few important components that should be taken in mind when you're giving a virtual?
The very first thing should be the attire, like what you are wearing. Because you are coming to an interview, and I should expect that you have enough courtesy to come to me in a proper, well-dressed way. Okay.
Fine.
The second thing should be that person should be like honest about things. Like if I am asking him a question, but you don't know how he. If a person has some certain skills, but if I ask that how he has that skills, and he's not able to tell me, then what's the point of having them on your resume?
Okay.
And then third thing should be like.
Do you think voice is important, Robin?
Yes, of course, voice is important, because by that way we'll interact, and by that way I'll understand what is the level of your confidence, and what are you intending to tell me, like, because you are able to hear me. Why? Because of my voice. Exactly. So that's the thing.
Absolutely correct. Yeah. And sometimes you might even tend to misunderstand the other person, right?
Exactly.
For example, this particular statement, I didn't say he stole the money, can be said in different ways. Like emphasizing on the right word is so important. I didn't say he stole the money. I didn't say he stole the money. I didn't say he stole the money. So every time you emphasize on a different word, the meaning of the sentence.
The meaning change. Yeah, exactly.
Wonderful. Thanks for that, Robin. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wonderful. I think that's a lovely response. But there are a few more things that I'd like to add to what Robin said. We'll include that a little later after watching these videos. So I like a few people also posting their response. Sir, how some people have so good communication skills? Please give us some clarity. Okay, that's what Rohan is saying. Ayush says good eye contact, good expressions. Good network is important. I agree on that. Absolutely. Confidence in trying not to stammer. Fair enough. All right. So if you observe this video very carefully, there are 3 V's that we are looking at: verbal, visual, and vocal, right? And that's exactly the 3 V's that your interviewer will be looking at when you give a virtual interview, right? And your virtual interview is going to be very different from a face-to-face round of interview, right? There, the person is not going to ask you to stand up and just to check whether you're wearing pants below your, above anything at all. So one thing that is sure is the 3 V's of communication that we'll be looking at: verbal, visual, and vocal. Verbal is through you turning on the camera and speaking, and your the square in which you fit yourself in. Vocal is your tone of voice, and visual and vocal, right? Vocal is your tone of voice, right? So when you look at this video, I think Sandeep Kumar had everything along with him. And yes, Aditya, that's a good point. Person should look confident with his body posture as well. Absolutely. And as Robin said, he was trying to tell a story. He was trying to narrate a story in that 90 seconds of time that he had. So, one more thing I want to highlight here, students, is the fact that your self-introduction should not sound like any other self introduction that other people are giving. What I usually recommend people to do is to include a motivational quote or something that resonates with you as a person. You know, when I introduce myself, I always start by saying nothing great ever comes that easy. That's a quote that I resonate myself with. The reason being is because whatever I was able to achieve in my life was with great difficulty, right, and with great compassion, and with putting a lot of effort. So according to me, that quote is very closely related to me, and I think I should include that in my self introduction. So what I recommend students to do is, we will have a separate piece on self introduction, but please ensure that you include at least, include a motivational quote in your self introduction. It adds a lot of weightage and it gives a lot of creative juices to flow when you give that motivational quote. We'll come to that a little later. So this was the first video that we saw. We like the body language. We love the confidence. We like the way he was moving his hands all over, and his sense of humor was also pretty okay. And he had a bright smile on his face, a wide smile, which was pretty infectious. That was Sandeep Kumar for you. Okay, we'll watch another video, a second video. So now we've picked up a guy. In the second video, we'll pick up a girl. Just look at the creativity that the person has put into their self introductions, and I think second video that we are going to see is a perfect example of creativity. Give me a minute, I'll play that for you. Okay, the name of the girl is Agnes, and she is introducing herself through her video resume. All right.
Hi, my name is Agnes Kindo and I'm 22 years old, and I hope that through this video resume you get to know a bit more about me. I am currently studying at the Indian Institute of Management, Lucknow. I scored a 10 CGPA in my 10th grade board examinations and an 82.8% in my 12th grade board examinations. I recently graduated from BIT Meshra, completing a course in computer science and engineering, securing a 7.08 CGPA. Although I hail from Ranchi, I was born and brought up in Kuwait. Talking about a few of my achievements, I would say that one of my biggest achievements would be getting placed into 3 companies through campus placements, the companies being Vodafone, Infosys, and Cognizant. And obviously, my most recent achievement would be getting into this prestigious institute. Talking about my hobbies or interests, I've always loved traveling. I always like exploring new places and experiencing the new cultures that come along with it. And the best way to get to know about a culture is through its good food. And whenever I go to these places, I get to see these amazing views. And the best way to capture them is through my lens. And you could see a few of my clicks on my photography website. Talking about my other interests, I've been formally trained in Bharatanatyam for 6 long years, and I always love trying out different styles of dance as well. I occasionally do try singing, although it's not my forte, but yeah, it's one of my hobbies. Looking into the future, I've always dreamed of opening up a restaurant along with my father. He used to be a chef a long time ago, and I think that would be one of the things that I would really love to do. So I hope that you got to know a bit more about me through this video resume. Thank you.
All right, so we'll look at the observations. Yes, Robin, go ahead.
Okay, so the very thing which kept my attention throughout the video was the captions. It's like whenever she was saying, there was a word related to it.
Yeah.
So that was the very first thing which I observed. Then second thing was the tonality, and the vocal part of the girl was very clear.
Okay.
There was no much faults I saw. Okay. Then the third part is there was a call to action. You know, if you have to watch her photographs, you have to visit her website.
Okay.
So there was a bit of call to action towards that also.
Okay. Okay.
And she was very clear about, you know, about her weakness, that, you know, her singing is faulty, but she accepted it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the part which I feel that was the best about.
Okay. All right. Great observations. Fair enough. Anybody else with any other observations? Okay, Aditya says person should look confident with his body posture as well. Agreed. Any other observations? Anyone who'd like to speak or add? Please go ahead. I would like to know your opinions as well. We picked up one guy. We picked up one girl. Okay. A smile. Okay, that's something that was intact. Lakshmi says there were many pauses. Eyes were rolling in the middle, not like eye contact was there. She looked a bit nervous, I think. Okay, fair enough. You know, one reason why I always request girls to tie their hair if in case they're falling below their jawline is because of this constant flickering of hair when she was talking. So that denotes, now again, that cannot be a reason for why a person is getting rejected, but definitely a markdown. So, of course. See, understand one thing, students, the reason why a person gets rejected in a job interview is always major. Just because you're not dressed appropriately, or you are constantly flickering your hair, or you're eating chewing gum and entering inside the training room, that could lead to unhappiness or a markdown, but that can definitely not be a reason for getting rejected. Yes. Okay. Any other observations? Anyone? Okay, I am just reading the chat here. Okay, Rohan says, when you talk, I notice you use effective words, which sounds amazing. How do you train yourself after which you subconsciously started using these words? Okay, we'll come to that later, Rohan. We are looking at this video for now. Okay, I see one response. I'm so sorry. I just skipped that. There was a nice response by Prachi. I'm somehow not able to view that response. Yeah, she says, Prachi says, she used too many times. That was also a hindrance, I think. Okay, fumbling, what we call it. Agreed. Vivek says, perfect bonding. What she's saying with her body language, I think it attracts an interviewer. Yes, definitely. True. Agreed. Any other observations that you saw in the video? So see, this is exactly what I was trying to tell you guys, that when we talk about verbal communication as such, we have to look at 3 V's. And now that we are connected virtually, it's important to understand that body language has gotten a different way of looking at it. Okay, let me quickly stop sharing and reshare my screen again for you to understand this better. I was talking about the 3 V's of communication. And when you connected virtually with your interviewer, these 3 V's are to be taken care of. What you see rightly on the screen: verbal, vocal, and visual. Most of y'all will happen to give a virtual interview, and I think virtual is the trend, where it is either on Teams, on Skype, or on Zoom. Right? I don't see any other application where any recruiter has used other than these 3. So be conversant with these tools, because there you will be giving most of your interviews. 3 things that you need to take care of, and that's exactly what we saw in these two videos. One is verbal, second is vocal, and third is visual. When you say verbal, whatever you say has to be crisp and clear, that we observed in Sandeep Kumar's video. The voice that he had and the words that he spoke was absolutely crystal clear. We can understand and comprehend spoken English. Sometimes what happens is we tend to speak really fast, especially in those times where we are nervous. So to avoid that, please go ahead and speak slower, right? So that you can be heard clearly. Second is interesting and insightful. I saw that most of the things that were spoken by both of them were pretty interesting and insightful, most likely because there was link and logic associated with it. How many times have we tried connecting link and logic together? I always ensure that whatever I train, I ensure that I have a proper flow of my training. Right? One thing should be connected with the other. ऐसे नहीं होना चाहिए एक चीज सिखा रहा हूँ, all of a sudden I jump onto a different topic. No, there should always be link and logic to what I say and speak. Second is vocal communication, that is tone of voice. Now here is your speed, the speed in which you speak, the articulation, the way you articulate. I just gave an example to Robin. I didn't say he stole the money. The word that you emphasize on actually changes the meaning of your sentence, right? Your voice should definitely sound warm and caring. That's a most important aspect. You should sound warm and caring, because one thing that I've definitely observed when it comes to communication is politeness is the key to communication, right? How much ever you might be an MBA graduate from a really renowned institute, but if you're not polite enough, people will not pay attention to what you're saying, right? So most important, warm and caring. And last is confidence. I think one video that we saw yesterday, Pursuit of Happiness, a perfect example why you should sound warm and confident, warm and caring as well as confident. Overconfidence दिख के आता है through your tone of voice, and if you're not sounding warm and caring, वो भी समझ में आता है, right? So one of the most important aspects when we are connected virtually with our interviewer is our tone of voice. Remember that. Earlier it was body language and face-to-face communication. And now it's more of tone. Aditya says the boy looked more fluent while speaking, and also he has effective tonal quality. I agree on that, right? He has a really good command over English, and most likely his tone of voice was also appropriate, right? He was sounding professional. Next is the last part is visual. Visual basically means how you project yourself in front of the camera, open, direct, and square, right? So pick up a place that's not very moving. There's no movement anywhere around, and you should look open, direct, and square. You watched the video of Sandeep Kumar. You very rightly saw his hand movements are pretty open. He did not restrict his hands in folding or putting it inside the pocket, right? Next is his facial expressions. I think that he was very expressive when he was talking. Same goes for Agnes. And of course, eye contact. They had an eye contact with the camera, and of course with the people that they're talking. So one thing that's important for you to give any virtual interview is to come on the camera, because that will be a mandate and a prerequisite for you when you go for an interview. So I think to quickly summarize, we've watched 2 videos of IIM graduates to understand the 3 V's of communication, that is verbal, vocal, and visual. And we very rightly understood it by those 2 videos. Let me know if you have any questions related to this. And if you see, collective result of 3 V's is believability. The other person should believe in what you're saying, and that can only happen when you sound warm and caring and when you sound confident. Persuasion, you should be able to persuade and influence the other person. Yeah, that's the whole intention of these 3 V's. I like that response, Aditya. Aditya says Sandeep used his whole body to communicate, not just the words. Just understand the impact of non-verbal communication, right? Yesterday when we watched the video, we also figured out that he had absolutely no skill, right? Chris Gardner, no skill, no quality in understanding the share market. But one thing that he had was confidence and attitude, of course, most important. Yeah, and where was he projecting that attitude and his confidence? From his body. So I think that's the most important and prerequisite part. Okay, so if there are any questions, please feel free to ask. I'm just going to take a pause for any questions that we have. Sorry, and then we'll be able to summarize the session for you all. So just a pause for questions, if any. Okay, Rachna says, if in an interview you don't know the answer of some technical question, so how should you respond to it? That's a good question, Rachna. Rachna is saying, अगर किसी चीज का आंसर हमें नहीं आता तो हमें क्या बोलना चाहिए? क्या बोलोगे रचना? बोल दो नहीं आता, right? So see, understand one thing, students. Now, of all the 5 days that we are going to spend, one thing that I'm going to be definitely sure is I will not teach you to lie, or neither manipulate your answers and tell your interviewer that, see, listen, this is what it is. Right? Be absolutely honest is what I'll say, Rachna. First thing is, Rachna is not supposed to know everything and anything. That's the first point. And that an interviewer, कहते हैं ना, हमारे language में कहते हैं, interviewer भी कभी interviewee था, right? So he understands for a fact that some question के answers you might not know. Just be honest and tell the person that you don't know, but you'll try to find an answer. Don't leave a problem with a problem. Right? If you tell the person, okay, fine, sir, I might not know the answer right now, but can I get back to you on this? I'll check and I'll get back. I think that's a beautiful way of answering. One is you're being absolutely honest, right? Yeah, exactly. Never fake yourself. Understand this, guys. Integrity is over everything in a job interview, right? If you're honest and you tell the other person that you don't have a required skill set, you might not get selected for the job. But if you are going to lie to your interviewer, and if that gets caught, you will never be invited again for that in that company for job. Understand that, right? If you don't have the required skill set, Rachna will go ahead and learn and come. But if she's not honest enough, honesty is something that is difficult to learn sometimes, right? And it takes a lot of time for us to build that honesty, right? So in future में आपको वही company कभी invite भी नहीं करेगी अगर if there's no honesty displayed. I like that question, Vaishali. I'm going to address that tomorrow. Tomorrow we will learn how to build confidence. I'm going to give you some very practical tools that can help you build confidence. So don't worry about that. Okay, Rohan, yeah, to answer that question, when you talk, I noticed that you use effective words, which sounds amazing. How did you train yourself? I'll tell you one tip that I can definitely share with my students is the fact that there are plenty of emails that you receive on your Gmail, right? Plenty of them. How many of you go through the vocabulary that you get? You know, what I used to do is when I started working at the age of 15, the first thing that I started noticing is the vocabulary used in those emails, right? I started making a list of all the words that are used in a professional email. You know, there are also these newsletters that you usually get on email. I try to focus on the vocabulary and understand how this vocabulary is used. Where is this sentence used and how I can use the sentence better? And that's how I started working on my vocabulary. So one tip that I would definitely give you is, instead of putting all those Gmail mails that you get in your spam, putting them in the spam, rather go ahead and read them. One thing that you can definitely do is learn and improve your vocabulary. Okay. All right, fair enough. So I think it's a good time to close. I'll just do a quick start, stop, continue. What are few things that we learned that we'll start doing from today's workshop? What is something that we'll stop doing? And of course, what is something that we will continue to do? I'll give you probably a minute for you to post your responses, and then we are good to close. Confidence is something that we're going to learn tomorrow, how to build self-confidence and how to sound confident when we go for an interview. Very practical tools we'll look at. Instead of saying take deep breaths and drink water and all of that, we look at more such things. Yeah. So I'll quickly take a pause for a start, stop, continue, and then we are good to end the session. Okay, Vaishali says, start doing, improve your vocabulary, stop wasting your time. Fair enough. All right. Yeah. Okay, Rohan has posted a response. I'd like to know, Rohan, what would you do? Okay, a start, stop, continue. I think that should help. Okay, I like this response by Aditya. This is, you should know the difference between personal and professional lifestyle. I agree. True. And you will be only able to differentiate, like when you watch the Sandeep Kumar video, you know for a fact that he was, he drew a thin line between being casual and being friendly. A lot of times what candidates try to do is they try to be casual with the interviewer. And I think one thing that we should all understand is, rather than being casual, we can be friendly with our interviewer. I think that's a safe place to be in. Right. So in fact, I still remember one incident that happened to me, and with that incident, I'd like to close the session. I was invited for an interview for Tech Mahindra, and apparently the issue was that I had mother tongue influence. I'm a Maharashtrian, so it was very difficult for me to speak in the right language. I was making a lot of mistakes in pronunciation, and I was invited for a UK process. It was a UK process, and of course, I had mother tongue, so they didn't consider me for 4 times. Now, on the 5th time, when I cleared all the rounds of interview, and I was invited for that interview, I told the first thing that I stepped inside the interview, and the first thing that I told is, it was 2:00 in the afternoon. I said, good morning, right? And the interviewer looked at his clock, and I was ready for another rejection. I said, okay, there's something that's going to happen now. My first impression has gone down. right? So when he looked at his watch, I said, good afternoon. There might be afternoon in some part of the world, so good afternoon to them and good morning to you. And he was particularly impressed. He knew for a fact that I made a mistake, but the whole cover up was something that led him, consider. He had a smile on his face and he said, good afternoon. So, there are mistakes that we'll tend to make, and that's absolutely fine. How do you turn that mistakes into opportunities is what we need to look at. And I think this particular session will definitely help you further. So thank you everyone for being patient listeners. I hope this session was beneficial. We'll continue with the rest of the sessions. I think I'll hand over back to the team. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your insightful session. It was really interactive and you addressed the questions really well. And now thereafter, being the anchor of the day, I would like to ask a question to you. And the question is how to cope up with the interview rejection situation.
All right, that's an interesting question, Ankita. How to cope up with interview rejection? First of all, understand that rejection is a very common feeling, and the company that you're applying for is not the last company. Let's keep that in our mind, right? And rejection is a very common thing. The first thing that you need to do is get a feedback. Right, get a feedback for what went wrong, because usually you get rejected for major reasons. Just because you're wearing a slipper or you're chewing gum does not mean that invites a rejection. That definitely the impression goes down, but that's not a sign of rejection. Now, major reasons why you get rejected, because 4 times when I got rejected in Tech Mahindra, it was majorly on my mother tongue influence, and it takes a lot of time for a person to work on his mother tongue influence, right? To speak a neutral English, to speak in neutral English. So one is take a feedback from your interviewer, whatever the feedback is, try to work on it, and I'm sure you'll be able to excel.
Very well addressed, sir. Thank you for your answer.
Thank you.
All right, moving ahead. Now, may I request Dr. Brahmpal Singh, sir, to kindly give a formal vote of thanks.
Sapne aur lakshya mein. Am I audible?
Sir, you're audible.
Yes.
Please switch on your camera.
Okay. Okay. Just. सपने और लक्ष्य में एक ही अंतर है। सपने के लिए बिना मेहनत की नींद चाहिए और लक्ष्य के लिए बिना नींद की मेहनत। राह संघर्ष की जो चलता है वही संसार को बदलता है। जिसने रातों में जंग जीती है सूर्य बनकर वही निकलता है। I'm Dr. Brahmpal Singh. A grateful and warm evening to all, to our most valued guests, worthy teachers, management committee, and most beloved students. Last but not the least, all gathered over here. It is my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. I, on behalf of Trinity Institute of Professional Studies, Dwarka, and the entire fraternity of the college, first of all, extend my most sincere thanks to the Lord Board. On my behalf, I extend very hearty vote of thanks to our two skills and guest of the day, as well as the speaker, Mr. Guran Satyam, Senior Communication Coach, Microland Limited, Pune, for gracing his crucial work and sharing with us his opinion and findings this present time. My special thanks to our respected young and dynamic chairman, Dr. R.K. Tandon, for his valuable support and guidance to organize this campus-ready program. Next, my sincere thanks to our Honorable Director, Ma'am, Dr. Barkha Bahal, for new idea, motivation, and support. Next, my sincere thanks to our Head of the Department, Dr. Mukta Sharma, for her guidance and inspiration. Further, a big thanks to Masters of the Ceremony, Ms. Neha Agarwal and Ankita Kumari for anchoring, Aditya for PPT design, Ms. Sabah Hussain for message drafting Zoom link invite, Ms. Sikha Bhalla for report writing and social media, Ms. Upasna Singh and Mr. Sahil for poster design, Mr. Santosh Kumar Singh for photographs with geotag, and Mr. Musharraf Khan for Facebook and YouTube Live. With their style and own ideas of explanation of everything I mentioned, my deepest sense of appreciation and would place on record my hearty thanks to all the volunteers because of whom we made this function possible. My special thanks to whole CSNIT department for organizing this campus daily program for motivating the students. I once again want to state that we are grateful to speaker of the day here over the stage. We thank you for being with us this time. It has been a great pleasure. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now I'd like to request everyone to turn on their cameras for a group shot that will be treasured for lifetime. All are requested to log in tomorrow for more fruitful sessions. And let me remind you people that certificates will be given on the basis of 80% attendance in all these sessions. So stay tuned.
Photograph has been taken, Ankita?
Let me check, sir.
I think Santosh sir is not here. So one of you.
Sir, Aditya has to take.
Okay.
Sir, it's done, sir. Photograph has been taken.
Okay. Thank you to all. Have a good day. Stay indoors and stay tuned. You all can leave now.
Okay.